Thomas R. Gramins, Lieutenant Supply Corps, USN, found him an apartment in Charleston, and I think 4 of us shared it. So depending on who had the watch, you know, it was kind of a hot bunk situation, but it was fine. It worked out fine. Yeah, and then we left. When we went out of the yards, we went down to Guantanamo Bay for refresher training, which was an 8-week stint, you know, with a battle problem at the end, which was fine. Yeah. So got to see Guantanamo Bay after that. Then basically after refresher training, it was back to Mayport, Florida for local ops. And then we went to Key West for 2 weeks of Fleet Sonar School training in mid-October, and then came back to Mayport toward the end of October when the Cuban Missile Crisis was going on, and we were not part of the blockade at that time. So we were back on Friday, late October. Saturday noon we got a call, get everybody back to the ship. We are leaving at 4 o'clock to, quotes, plane guard for the Enterprise, because all the destroyers in their operating area were out on blockade. So we were the only ones left to go out and plane guard for the Enterprise. So, and it was very chilly because it was late October in Mayport, Florida. So we left about 4 o'clock with as many people as we could get back. And I distinctly remember, you know, hitting the rack and pulling a blanket over myself because it was cold, and waking up around midnight. And I said, warm, what's going on here? So I went up to the chart house and I asked the quartermaster, I said, what's going on? Where are we? He says, well, Mr. Gramins, we're going through the leeward passage. I said, oh, that's not the operating area. So, but we spent our time in the Cuban Missile Crisis on the underside of Jamaica with the Enterprise. And we knew, I mean, we knew about the blockade. I mean, I found out, I think, many years later that we were the nuclear deterrent force. We were not part of the blockade. So if something had happened, thank God it didn't, we would have had a significant responsibility and an offensive capability. Yeah. So, but that was as much as I needed to know at that particular time. Yeah. We were the ship that was selected to go in and pick up all the people who had missed movement. So we went in at midnight to Guantanamo Bay. And there were about, I think, I want to say about 200 people, which we had to take out to the various ships in the carrier. And the interesting thing was, of course, everybody else who knew we were going in said, well, you got to get stuff for us. So we had a whole sheaf of requisitions. So my storekeeper went over to the beach, went to the supply depot, and walked in, and he said, Wagner, here are the keys. We're going up in the hills to join the Marines, because they knew they were under, you know, targeted by the Russian/Cubans, that could, if something kicked off, that would be a nasty place to be. So we were in there from midnight till sunrise. And I can remember standing with 1 foot on the pier and 1 foot on the ship, and the ship starts moving, and I'm still helping people throw on board everything we could possibly, you know, get out there. So that was an interesting experience. And of course, having carrier sailors on a destroyer is not a happy experience, particularly, you know, because they just could not handle the ship. They're used to going like this, and they left a pretty good mess in the inboard passageway, which obviously our guys were not happy about having to clean up. So, but I tell the story, we ultimately got our revenge on the Enterprise because we went alongside to refuel one time toward the end of this thing, and whatever happened, I don't know, but we double clutched and hit a big puff of black smoke which covered the island of the Enterprise, which was all glass. And of course, most of us were laughing like hell because of that. And of course, the engineering officer and the people who ever was the OOD caught hell because of that. You know, the admiral on the Enterprise was not happy. So, but that was kind of the, you know, the final piece of that. And, you know, went back to Mayport after that was over, and then I left the ship and went to Washington, D.C. That was my second tour of duty. So, but it was, as I said, it was probably the most responsible job you could have at age 22 and 23. You stop and think about it.